Hello everyone and welcome back to the BIA racing series, where today we are at the 4th race of 12, with this one taking place on Smith Street Circuit, still on the east coast of the United States of America. This track's design may look relatively short and simple, but its rough surfaces and trackside objects, just like on the Nodeoline, constantly present immediate danger to the drivers when mistakes are made. This track is specifically characterized by a controversial rally-style jump at the end that always needs to be taken with caution. This is the second of 3 night races this season, with this one taking place at 6 PM with an ambient temperature of 22.8 degrees Celsius. All drivers managed to qualify this race. In 5th is Jace with a time of 1 minute, 2.091 seconds. In 4th is Paulie with a time of 1 minute, 0.749 seconds, after a nasty slide through the final corner of the track affected his run, putting him in his lowest starting position so far. In 3rd, as per usual, is Blazin with a time of 1 minute, 0.007 seconds, negatively affected by going deep in a turn 1 on his run. In 2nd is Brock with a time of 59.348 seconds, and hopefully with a high starting position like this he can put an end to his recent 5th place streak. And in 1st is Customize with a time of 59.003 seconds, becoming the first person to dethrone Paulie's pole position streak. Anything can happen this race. Let's get right into it. It's time to see if the Smith Street motto stating that anything can happen will hold up. Brock especially will be having to prove to everyone that he is more than his recent performance. Everyone here has something to prove, and the way we move, Paulie has an excellent launch on Blazin, Customize an excellent launch too. He's gotten quite a ways ahead there. The back, forth, and side by side, there's contact between Paulie and Brock. Brock has been able to recover. Paulie now heading into Swiggity side by side with Blazin. They'll be battling through this corner. Paulie on the outside, Blazin goes wide. Paulie slips in there. Blazin will have to slow down for the bump, and that lets Paulie through into P3. Absolutely incredible work.
I'll keep keeping my distance from these two for the time being.
Paulie now past Blazin, letting his team know that he wants to bide his time and wait for the right moment to strike, as the current 1st and 2nd place runners, Customize and Brock, fiercely follow each other onto the straight here out of Treehouse, but Paulie still has Blazin right behind him, so he can't get comfortable yet. Brock, right on the back of Customize, is going for it in the final corner, but he can't make it work. Customize slips ahead just in time. What a bold move. This corner is very dangerous due to its bumpy nature, but he's really gone for it because he really has nothing to lose, and it's difficult to overtake on this track. There they just went over the rally jump. They're now all headed down into turn 1. Brock's gone deep. Paulie has gone deep. What an incredible race start we have had. Here we get to see a replay of the race start. Quite frankly, not much to see since we essentially saw it all. But what we do want to see again is what happened between Brock and Paulie. Paulie coming up the inside here. Brock turns in maybe a bit earlier than Paulie was expecting, leading to some light contact on the front of Paulie and the rear of Brock, as seen here in slow motion, that led Brock to violently slide out, while Paulie just had his front just next to Brock's rear there as he was turning in. A bit of a scary racing incident through turn 1 there for the both of them. The top 4 are so close. They continue to chase each other without giving up. Now they're exiting the treehouse. A bit wide into the dirt for Brock. Will Paulie be able to capitalize on this mistake as they head into the straight? It doesn't seem like he has the run on the straight that he needed.
I would have had a good run if I was in the right gear.
Paulie not happy about his mistake there. Here comes Jace. He's sticking far behind the main pack to avoid any sort of collision, I would assume. There they all go through the final turn. They're all so close together. It's a bit scary for Brock as he slides, but he manages to recover. They're about to come over the rally jump now. They're all so close together for another confrontation down into turn 1. Here we go. Paulie right behind Brock. Will he be making his move here? We'll have to see. The championship leader has to do any. Oh my god, he's hit Brock. Brock has been pushed wide. He's almost into the guardrail. Polly's now doing the same thing he did on Blazin. There's contact between Brock and Polly. They're all over the place. It's getting violent. Here they go. Brock's hit Polly again. And oh my god, if that was any closer, they might have been taken out. This is absolutely ludicrous. Brock seems to have lost the headlight from the situation.
No way I'm surviving 60 laps of this.
Customized now has a more sizable gap, but he is not sounding confident considering the track's conditions and the ferocity of the fighting behind him. The top four so close again into turn one. Brock's going wide onto the grass. Polly might be trying a run on Customize into Swiggity Bend. We'll have to see. Here they go. Polly's indeed on the inside. Customize on the outside. Will Polly be able to pull this move off again? Customize is still just ahead. Polly is not giving up, however, as they go into Treehouse, but he does have to pull out to avoid any type of collision or crossing of lines through there. They're now coming through the exit of Treehouse. Polly and Brock have touched, and then Blazin has touched the back of Brock. What an absolutely chaotic chain reaction of collisions there. These drivers are just fighting so hard for any position possible on this track. It's a tad bit more spread out as we head down into turn one. There goes Polly, there goes Brock. Now we're seeing from Blazin's perspective, Brock gone wide onto the grass with a big jump there, allowing Blazin to go past in a P3. That would have done a number on Brock's bumper. Yep, it is now wobbling and he now has limited lighting. Brock, despite the setback, continues to adamantly follow Blazin into the last corner here. Blazin going wide. Brock is going for the move on the most dangerous corner of the track. Can he make it work? He's gotten just enough space to be able to do it. Absolutely incredible. In only 5 laps, we have seen some of the best racing in the BIA so far. Customize and Polly have been glued together these last few laps. They're going through the treehouse now. Neither of them refuse to give up. Customize on 2 wheels. Polly gets a little bit of air as well. Polly looking for a move, but they touch. It is not good, and Customize appears to have spun out violently. There's Brock. He's going too fast. He struck the back of Customize. Customize has caught fire on the straight. That is Blazin has just moved up past Brock into P3. Brock would have gotten terrible damage from that with Customize now on fire. Luckily with a fuel tank rupture, Blazin has now passed. Brock has hit Customize into a ditch while trying to pass Jace, but have just passed as well. Now Jace is right behind Brock and will be trying to pass any moment. Brock moves aside. He doesn't want to fight that in his current condition with his utterly ruined car. We see Customize trying to make his way down the track, but he can barely see, and that fuel is now no longer there from the fuel tank rupture, and he's coming to a stop.
No power, no power, no power, nah.
Customize, now sitting alone in the silence of the dark forest, has fallen from his first ever pole position down to a 5th place DNF in a matter of moments. Truly a devastating way to finish your race.
Oh,
Here we have the replay of the incident. So for a moment, Polly was alongside, but not by the time of the corner exit. Due to Customize just going a tiny bit slower, Polly accidentally taps his rear, sending Customize into the spin. Brock is now coming along, sees Customize in the smoke on the left, so moves right. But he's just going too fast to react to Customize having spun over to the right side of the track. Afterwards, Jace is coming along. He sees that the track is essentially on fire and doesn't know what to make of it. Coming up behind Brock and Customize, he sees the incident where Brock accidentally shoves Customize off the track and into a ditch. It wasn't entirely Brock's fault. The erratic movement of Customize's car found itself suddenly in Brock's pathway through, but it's worth noting it would have been a lot safer for Brock to have been taking the situation with a lot more caution, as his reaction to this situation did appear to be quite reckless. On the way back to the race restart, we have Jace restarting in P3, Blazin restarting in P2, passing by the wrecked car of Customize. Jace was not paying attention and has rear-ended Blazin on the way back to the starting line.
I was too locked into what was happening with Customize.
We are here on the restart. Polly with a magnificent P4 to P1 run so far, but the Customize incident is controversial. Brock has gone from P2 to P4. This is definitely not where he wants to be, but we will see. And off they go. Blazin has a horrible start. Jace through into P2. Brock now on the outside. He breaks later than Jace. He's going around the outside. Has he done it? He seems to have been able to slingshot around Jace to claim back P2 just off the start and in one corner. Absolutely incredible performance from Brock there. But Blazin now down to P4 behind Jace. Definitely not where he wants to be right now. Brock is hunting down Polly through the last corner. He's gone wide, but it seems to have given the speed for an opportunity. He's alongside, he slides, but he recovers. They're going to be alongside on the pit straight there. They go over the jump. It's going to be on who's last on these brakes. It seems to be Brock, but it looks to be too fast. Polly accidentally taps him. Brock is up onto the dirt hill. Jace almost strikes him there because he went wide himself. That is not good for Brock at all, but he seems to have gotten out of the situation.
I'm gonna take my pit.
Brock will be the first person to pit this race, and oof, he seems to have touched the guardrail a bit there. For a bit of clarity on the situation into turn 1, Polly and Brock are side by side, but due to Brock braking too late and too little, he is going too fast into this corner and going almost straight on, acts as a sort of unavoidable roadblock as Polly turns in, leading to Polly accidentally tapping Brock and pushing him further up the hill. There was nothing he really could do there to avoid Brock getting a bit too bold into turn 1. Polly now has a rather comfortable lead compared to Jace and Blazin battling behind him. Polly now heading into turn 1, touches the grass a little bit, unsettles the car into a slide. A bit of a silly mistake, but it was a stylish one at that. Blazin is right on the back of Jace. He'll be looking for any opportunity to overtake, and he's going for it through Treehouse because Jace has gone wide. They almost touch. Blazin has to back out. He'll have to wait for another opportunity later in this race. These two, Blazin and Jace, are still glued together as they exit the treehouse. Jace brakes hard, Blazin looking for a gap, but he can't find one through here. These two have been racing so hard as they now go along the back straight. Blazin seems to have the better run. They're going to be side by side into the final corner. This is incredible. Who's going to commit here? Will it be Blazin or Jace? Blazin backs out to avoid a collision. Jace stands his ground just in front. This is incredible driving from the both of them. Brock, since coming out of the pits on the beginning of lap 10, has had no competition in 4th, but is eager to catch up and has been on a flying lap. This could get him the fastest lap so far, and it does! He scores the first 59-second lap of the race, half a second from the previous fastest lap set by Polly, and just a 10th off his qualifying time. Absolutely wonderful work there from Brock. Jace about to come through, Swiggity, he's going wide, he touches the guardrail, that will allow Blazin to gain a lot of time on Jace. Brock has also been getting a lot of time with the two up there battling.
Brock, just letting you know, Jace copped damage from a guardrail earlier.
Blazin letting his teammate, who is not that far behind, know that Jace is potentially carrying damage from the guardrail strike, having Blazin on him for the past few laps, having struck a guardrail, and now having the second Will Rock teammate not too far behind, all while defending the highest position he's ever held in a race. There is now more pressure on Jace than ever before. The chase continues, and Brock is also closer than ever on Blazin. Jace has hit the guardrail in a strange fashion. Blazin looking to get past. Brock sees the opportunity, gets past on the inside as Jace tries to recover from a massive crash into the guardrail back there. It looked kind of strange. We're thinking that the look of the crash might have just been an issue with the advanced replay system, but there Jace is. He's fighting his way down the track, but appears to be getting slower and slower as he tries to stay on that throttle to get to the pits, because all he needs to do is just get to those pits and he can continue in this race. He's fallen down to P4. Brock has now gotten back up to P2, but it seems to be over for Jace. He is now slowing to a crawl and to a stop on the track. That is absolutely devastating for him.
But like, this was just f***ing me off, and I was trying to keep it. Like, can we be quiet? I know you guys want to speak about, but like, I'm trying to f***ing race.
Jace clearly not happy with how his team was managing the radio comms, but anyway, here we have the replay. So as Jace is coming to the bridge, he seems to accidentally flick the steering to the right into the guardrail. The recovery is what seems strange, so maybe the guardrail strike was less extreme than what the ARS has shown us, but afterwards his steering is absolutely ruined and it forces him into the hill on the exit of the bridge, where he has a bit of a violent tumble over that cliffside there. And afterwards we see how Blazin reacts to the crash. He got so close to a collision there with how sudden the impact was, and Jace's debris, such as his wheel, gets briefly caught on Blazin's car, where it only seemed to bend a wheel arch out of shape. So Blazin was really lucky to get out of that situation with such a small amount of damage. Now here comes Rock. He hits debris too, but he really uses all of the track here to go for a bold move on the inside of Blazin, but he makes it work to get P2 back. That was an absolutely incredible move from Brock where it counted. Everyone here is now podium sitters, of which it will be Brock's first since Red with 3 races ago, and Blazin will have to fight for P2 again and have a shot at Polly. We'll have to see if Polly can hang on to this lead, and we're off. Everyone seems to have an equal start as we head into turn 1. Brock's going for a move. He taps Polly while trying to go on the outside. It's a bit of a strange move, but apparently it's worked because Brock is around the outside on Polly, now on the inside through Swiggity, and he's overtaken into P1, and Polly can't seem to get ahead of Brock.
Tried to go for a switchback, it did not work out.
Here we get a replay of Brock's confusing turn 1 move. So there was plenty of space on the inside of Polly for a move, but he suddenly moves rapidly to the outside of Polly where there is no space, which of course leads to the contact, which makes Brock slide out, to which he quickly recovers. However, Polly understandably was unsettled by the collision and is forced to take an awkward line through turn 1, which is probably what gave Brock the better run for the overtake, coming from a position further towards the outside. And this is what Blazin saw. This was a nasty close call, and with Brock sliding out so suddenly, you can see how this incident could have been much worse if Brock hadn't recovered properly, or if Blazin hadn't hit the brakes in time.
Boxing for mandatory.
Blazin has expressed a desire to box to cover the mandatory stop, and seems the play here is to hope Polly and Brock continue to battle, allowing Blazin to catch up after this box, where he seems to believe that from here he can make it to the end of the race with no more stops. They go to the last corner now, but the call is coming the wrong time because Brock has fumbled the lead to Polly, going wide through the last corner. Is Blazin still going to commit to the box? He seems to be slowing down, so he's indeed committing to that box, but it has just come at the wrong time here. Polly has pulled away a bit after Brock has accidentally given up his first ever BIA race lead. He's coming through the treehouse. He's accidentally gone too wide onto the grass and has striked a tree there. Luckily for him though, from what we're hearing, he doesn't appear to have any major handling damage. Both Will Rock teammates have already made pit stops, so now we're hearing Polly is discussing with his team when he should make his. We're probably just about to get something on that subject.
Trust me, that is playing on my mind right now. I do not know what to do.
I guess just your plan would be like create an easy gap.
My main worry is Blazin, to be honest.
Despite Brock being the one behind Polly at the moment, he doesn't seem to be concerned with having to fight with him if he boxes now, but seems to be thinking Blazin might be a lot more trouble for him if he decides to box later, with Blazin currently gaining time on both Polly and Brock since he has left the pits. Blazin coming through now to start his 21st lap. He's eager to make up time. He's gained about half a second on Brock. He's coming into turn 1 now. He pulls out thinking he might have been going a bit too fast through the corner. That's going to hurt his gain on Brock and Polly. If Polly wants to box, this would be the perfect time to do so.
I'm back on the track. No damage.
Alright, boxing for mandatory, boxing for mandatory.
Polly is indeed making the decision to box now. The question is Brock close enough to pass Polly as he's boxing to reclaim the lead? Here he comes. He's going to do it, and Brock reclaims the lead of this race. Will he be able to maintain this lead to the end? That's what he's certainly hoping for to get his first win. But Blazin is probably hoping for Polly to catch up, for Polly and Brock to battle, so then Blazin can catch up to the both of them. Brock and Polly are still close together as they fly down the back straight, now coming up to the final corner. How long can Brock hold off Polly for? Anyway, here, the final corner begins. Brock's going wide. He's going to fumble the lead to Polly again. He's hit a tree. He's dramatically rolled into a wreck on the track. Here comes Blazin. He'll have to avoid Brock here. He goes around the outside and slips into second position. This is absolutely horrible for Brock. Will this be a DNF? But it might not be, as he is moving. He is trying. He's waited for Blazin to pass, and he's on the move to the pits. His car is a scrapyard wreck as he's trying to fight it all the way to the pits. That car is trying to turn every which way it possibly can. Brock is having to fight the car itself with only one headlight he can barely see, but he's into the pits. He's gonna get it repaired, and he's gonna be able to continue this race. But what gains can he make from such a disastrous incident?
Hell, I did a barrel roll.
Here we have the replay from Brock's perspective of this heart-stopping crash. He's going wide but can't recover with the speed and bumps of this corner, stripping the car of its grip to the road, and he ends up into the grass and into the trees. Just as the impact happens, Polly passes through it to P1 as Brock's car does a horizontal then vertical flip, scraping along the ground until flipping upright again. It's miraculous that Brock recovered from this. It reminds me of his crashes on Redwood, where you think it would be impossible to recover from this, but he just somehow does by the skin of his teeth. The field is largely spread out right now. Here's Brock on the back straight, still on his 27th lap, coming into the final corner. That's some significant airtime. It's disrupted the connectivity to his lights in the bumper. Maybe the bumper's damaged. It seems to have come up there. It is indeed sort of stuck underneath the car there. That is not good for Brock. But if it's anything like Nodeoline, he's probably gonna keep running with it and not pit to fix this damage. Paulie has been on an incredible drive of pure consistency. Brock, however, has not, as he has lost 6 seconds of time to just Blazin over the course of 4 laps. If he keeps this up, Paulie could get close to lapping him.
I think I'm slowly catching Brock, but I'm still a fair way away from him.
Brock has went on the dirt a whole lot, so yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes Blazin. He's been slowly getting on Paulie, but he's gone super wide into the trees on the exit of Tree House, and he slides out of the predicament. That was a super close one, and based on the data we see, his rear bumper did come off through slight contact with one of the trees there. This will badly hurt his much-needed gains on Paulie.
Quite wide there.
Blazin, eager to catch up to Paulie, has been on a very fast lap and maybe a new lap record we'll see as he crosses the line. And yes, it is. We have a new fastest lap time to beat Brock set 23 laps ago on lap 11, with Blazin's time being on the cusp of 58 seconds.
Pit crew, interesting predicament. Fuel levels low, it's gone orange.
Blazin is catching Paulie, but at what cost? At this rate, he'll have to pit anyway, since we can see his fuel levels are dangerously low, and there are still 25 minutes left to go. This is the first time we have had a fuel predicament in the BIA. It seems that Will Rock has made a strategical error here, thinking that another race restart would have happened by now, or hoping the fuel would last a lot longer than this. Something else to wonder, how will this affect Brock, presumably running on the same amount of fuel? Blazin has been on another flying lap. He has gained significant time each lap so far. On lap 33, he was 9 seconds behind Paulie. Now on 38, he is in the 5-second range, and he gets a new fastest lap. The first time under 59 seconds, and the second of his times to be faster than any time set during qualifying. Of course, aided by the lack of fuel. But now it's simply a desperate game of trying to limit the amount of time lost to Paulie through a pit stop, with Blazin's fuel now running alarmingly low.
Not to alarm you, Blazin, I don't think you're lasting 20 minutes.
I know. Boxing for refuel.
And just like that, Blazin's run on Paulie is over as he is forced to make his second pit stop of the race for fuel. It would be so devastating for Blazin to get so close like that just to have it taken away from him by a misguided strategy call when it came to fuel. Unless something out of the ordinary happens, it seems like he'll be settling for second place this race as Paulie continues to cruise in first place position, where at this rate he is likely to be the first 2-time BIA winner. So far, he has yet again proven why he is the championship leader with impeccable consistency throughout most of this race, aided by another flawless setup strategy from Polygonal Racing.
Bad strategy call on his part, bro. I've got a third of a tank left. I overfueled for this race though, because I was a bit scared. The only time I'd ever need to pit is if I get damaged.
Brock trying to find the time on Blazin now that Blazin is pitted. He's coming through Treehouse now, but he's gone wide into the dirt. He's into the runoff. He's been able to avoid the tree in the middle, and he's back on track. That was a very scary moment for Brock there.
Brock, you are a maniac. I didn't go to the tree. That's insane. That's insane.
Brock still on his 41st lap has Paulie catching up behind him as he goes through Swiggity Bend. He's hit the guardrail of the bridge, but no, he's off again. That was very strange. We can barely see what's happened to his car here, but clearly it's nothing good. But none of it seems to have affected Brock, so this must just have been a big issue with the ARS, and hopefully not a ghosty event, as we really do not want to repeat the scenes of the Nodeoline, especially with Paulie catching up to potentially lap Brock eventually. Brock has just started his 45th lap. We kind of just have to accept this is how he looks for the time being, and he's commenting that his fuel light is now on while having Paulie right behind him.
Alright guys, my fuel light's on. My fuel light is on.
Yeah, just your fuel light.
Brock has expressed his desire to pit on the end of his 45th lap for fuel and for an easy way to let Paulie through at the same time, who goes around Brock to lap him just before the start of Paulie's 47th lap there.
Brock, may I respectfully ask that you stay in the pits until I pass? May I respectfully ask this? It's okay if you disagree.
That is okay.
Blazin has asked Brock if he can quickly lap him while he is in the pits to avoid a battle that could be costly for the both of them, especially with Blazin making a last-minute charge on Paulie, gaining time every lap.
I'm gonna take it a little bit easy. I don't need another Nodeoline. I know I've got more pace, but I don't want another mechanical failure.
Blazin coming into turn 1 now, continuing his chase on Polly, but it seems to be too fast. He comes to a complete stop at turn 1. Brock will be coming right now. There he is, coming around the corner. He's probably going to have the better run here and will be overtaking Blazin there to unlap himself. Blazin now falls behind Brock here. He'll need to lap him again as they head to the bridge now. Here they go to that bridge. Brock suddenly slows down and there's contact.
Oh my god!
Wait, go through.
Thank you.
Blazin's been let through to lap Brock again. It seems that Brock slowed down on the bridge to let Blazin through again on his own volition this time. But Blazin never received the message and so hit the rear of Brock without any expectation that he was going to slow down through that flat out section. It's a bit of a Will Rock disaster back here.
I believe I now have lighting damage. Light is now very limited, almost driving based on memory.
Brock has been driving quite rough and his bumper does not like it. It's wiggling, it's trying to come loose as we come around the final corner, and it has come up for the second time tonight for Brock. Here we have a quick replay of an incredibly close call here. Brock is practically a single millimeter away from the guardrail here and somehow didn't strike it, with only his wedged bumper sticking out the side of the car, causing some contact.
I feel like it's just turned on.
Polly now running low on fuel, but with this gap he should be able to conserve it with just 7 minutes remaining to the end of this race. Blazin coming around to the bridge now. That's Brock's bumper, and he's hit Brock's bumper, which must have come off last lap.
I just hit Brock's bumper. I'm okay though, but that was pretty strange.
That won't be a happy moment for Blazin's own front bumper, already damaged from striking the rear of Brock earlier, and on top of that, you don't want a wobbly bumper on a bumpy track. Brock on Blazin's tail as they head down into turn 1. Brock on his 55th lap, Blazin on his 56th. Brock has hit the rear of Blazin. Blazin goes wide onto the grass. Brock unlaps himself from the incident. What has just happened there?
Something bad has happened. We're okay. That was terrifying.
Blazin seems to be unaware that it was his teammate that sent him wide onto the grass. Based on what we hear him telling his team, he thinks his bumper suddenly jammed under the car, sending him wide, when that is definitely not the case. These last few laps have been a bit of a nightmare for Will Rock, and ever since Blazin had to recover from missing turn 1 a few laps ago, it's all been downhill from there, with his last minute chances to catch Polly completely ruined. Luckily, this incident doesn't matter this much at this stage of the race, with Polly too far ahead for Blazin to catch up under normal circumstances, and Brock still essentially having to catch up to Blazin by an entire lap if he wants second place. Here we have the replay of the incident. So Brock, looking to unlap himself with an overtake here, positions himself on the outside for a move up the inside of Blazin, but he seems to misjudge the gap and the direction that the car will head once he steps on the throttle, seemingly not anticipating the understeer. Now on Blazin, he is going a bit wide but should still make the corner until the tap from Brock gives him an unexpected boost of speed, where here the rough terrain is what has his bumper removed. Blazin coming around turn 1 now. Whoa, it's rough. He's on 2 wheels there. We now have the camera on Brock. There's just 2 minutes of this race left to go. He just needs to make it home to finish his first race without a DNF while dealing with only a single headlight. He started this race strong from second place, putting a very fast race lap record on the board and going for some of the bravest moves with success. But afterwards, it did fall apart. Said Bob moves started to become seemingly reckless with a lot of contact. Race leads were fumbled due to pressure. A lack of pace due to multiple mistakes also meant he started to drop off from the top 2 to the point he was lapped. However, it doesn't change the fact he'll be bringing it home to a podium finish. Brock about to come around the last turn with Blazin just behind him. He's running wide onto the grass and he's wedged himself into one of the trees. He doesn't seem to be getting out of this one. With just a minute left, he's going to be triggering a race restart and continuing his DNF streak.
No way.
Polly is not happy. His win that was in the bag is going to be at risk to Blazin on a race restart that is going to last a single lap.
Podium, let's go, lads.
I've never heard someone so happy to DNF. It's a much needed podium for Brock, and here we're getting the replay just before we go to our restart. So with Brock only on one headlight, can barely see the track at all, so he simply just goes wide into the last corner onto the dirt. You of course can't really control it here, and he just slammed right into that tree and couldn't get out of it. It's an unfortunate end for Brock's race. It is time for a last-minute race restart. This will be the last lap of the race with 30 seconds left on the clock. Both drivers here will be fighting to be a two-time BIA winner. We do have some brief camera issues again that should be fixed right away. At least we almost got through a whole race without camera problems. But anyway, it's time for a fierce rush for the trophy, and they've been let free. Blazin has an initial better start, but Paulie has more speed. Going up to turn one, who's going to be last on the brakes? It's Blazin! He manages to go on the inside past Paulie, but Paulie's coming back. They touch each other. It's a fierce battle. Who's going to be ahead of this corner? Paulie pulls ahead for Swiggity. Blazin tries to go for the switchback, but Paulie has that guarded. He saw that coming. This is absolutely incredible. Blazin is at the fastest pace in this race, but held back by strategical errors and getting caught up in many mistakes and incidents towards the end of the race. He will finish this race being the most consistent driver in this series, still yet to start or finish off the podium. Paulie has led a commanding race despite early controversy with Customize. He has been ruthlessly consistent with an absolutely flawless strategy. Starting P4, now running in P1 is an achievement never seen before in the BIA. And will he be getting his second achievement of being the first BIA two-time winner? They're going around the final corner now. Who's going to be the first across the line as they approach the rally jump? It's looking to be Paulie, and it's Paulie. He is your first two-time BIA winner and the winner of Smith Street Circuit.
Bro, I actually don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
It's over. GG's. And that's it for what was another exhilarating night of racing on the East Coast. We experienced the best car-to-car racing in this series so far. We saw good strategies and bad strategies, and we witnessed controversy with the BIA's first driver-on-driver incident. Speaking of which, after much discussion, Paulie has been given a +1 grid place penalty for the following race. It has been acknowledged that the pit maneuver on Customize was by no means intentional, but a bit too risky from Paulie, which led to terrible consequences for Customize. This race lasted 60 laps with 144 kilometers of distance being traversed, the longest thus far. The race results are Customized in 5th place due to no fault of his own. First pole to first DNF is an incredibly sad turn of events for him. Jace finished 4th despite mostly having a slower pace compared to the other drivers. He demonstrated some wonderfully fierce but clean battling with Blazin. In 3rd is Brock. He is finally back on the podium after finishing 2 races in 5th. He demonstrated his bold driving style, which both worked and didn't work. Blazin finished 2nd running the race with fast pace but was held back due to strategical errors. Nonetheless, he is still yet to finish off the podium. In 1st is Paulie, who has become the first two-time winner of the BIA after driving a very consistent race with a perfect strategy despite the earlier controversy. Driver of the day was Paulie for both what was just mentioned and pulling off an incredible P4 to P1 run that has never been seen before in this series. As far as standings go, placements haven't changed, but points definitely have. Paulie now has quite a comfortable lead, as even if he were to finish 5th next race, for Blazin to just be tied with him, he would need to achieve 1st place and either pole or a Driver of the Day award. Customize is still close to Blazin, and their championship fight is still neck and neck at this stage. And Jace and Brock are also neck and neck, but with each other, both now tied up with points. Join us next time for the 5th race of 12, where we head from the east to the west to Belasco Raceway during a lovely morning on the only purpose-built racetrack in the Season 1 calendar, featuring a lovely surface, plenty of space and room for many overtaking opportunities and fierce battling at high speeds. See you then.